My husband and I were enjoying our morning coffee on our patio as we talked about our jobs, our kids, and upcoming trips. My husband made the most random comment. He looked at me and said, "Joanna, remember, capital will always go where it's welcome and stay where it's well treated." I was confused. What did you say? He took a leisurely sip of his coffee and said, "Wriston, W-R-I-S-T-O-N, Wriston's law of capital. Capital will always go where it's welcome and stay where it's well treated." Let me pause here and say, if you and your loved one are not talking about Wriston's law over your morning coffee, you're missing out, because I was hooked. For the rest of the day, I kept thinking about my husband's offhanded comment. Today, I will share with you my extra narrative, my thoughts on this idea of capital. Now, you might be thinking that I'll be talking about money. I'm not. I'll be talking about our talents and strengths, because to me, as strengths coach, capital is so much more than money. You know how some leaders seem to attract people and others outright repel them? This law finally explains to me why that is. In fact, I think that this law gives us all two keys to be great leaders, to attract and retain best people to our teams, our businesses, and our organizations. Before we look at them, why should we even care? Well, I think what's at stake here is nothing short of our business survival. We are in a competitive business environment. Our best people can pick up and leave us. It happens all the time. In fact, a recent Gallup report tells us that 51% of currently employed American adults are looking for a job elsewhere. And when they leave, so will the money that we invested in training them. And by the way, our best people are most expensive to replace. We have to do better as leaders with 50% of the workforce on the line. We have to crack the code to making them feel valued and appreciated so they stay. Because when they stay, so will the money and our peace of mind. We won't have to look for new hires. Wriston's law is a game changer here. So let's take a look at the two keys that it gives us. Welcome and treat well. The first key to leading others well is welcoming their talents and strengths. I really like that word welcome, but I feel like we've gotten so used to it that we've forgotten about the power behind it. I thought of that when I remember my trip to Poland back in 1992, just around the time when the country was moving towards democracy. I returned to Krakow, where I was born and raised. I remember walking into two quaint shops. Each one had a beautiful sign on the door that said, "Zapraszamy," which means welcome. I walked into the first store. The employees there didn't even acknowledge me. As I reached for a jacket that I wanted to try on, one of the employees looked at me and said, "Proszę nie dotykać." Please don't touch the merchandise. The American in me, used to excellent customer service, was very confused by her sharp words, and I definitely didn't feel welcome there. But when I walked into the second store, the owner immediately and happily welcomed me with "Dzień dobry," hello. She asked me to poke around, which I did. I lingered long enough to even buy something because I wanted to support her. I bet you know which one of the two stores continues to thrive more than 25 years later, and which one died the natural death predicted by Wriston's law. We know when we're welcome, don't we? At home or at work, when others appreciate what we bring to the table, we engage with them. Great leaders create an environment that welcomes others' talents and strengths, and they do it in many different ways. But as I've studied them, I've noticed that they lead with positive intent. They believe the best of others. Let me ask you, how many of you like it when others assume something about you? I bet not many or any of you. I know I don't. Great leaders don't insult others by making any assumptions about them. Instead, they ask them questions. Curious, open-ended, and then they listen to the answers and only then do they react. They also see differences on their teams as their advantages because they truly believe that we all need each other. So if they have that one person on the team who maybe takes a little longer to answer a question, they let her know that the team needs her because when she does speak, she brings wisdom and insights to the table. And if they have another person on the team who maybe jumps into a project without having all the details nailed down, they let him know that the team needs his catalytic sense of urgency and that amazing comfort in risk-taking. I have to confess that there are times when I like to surround myself with people who think and act just like me. I guess it's because it's a safe and cozy place to be. But I know that no growth, no innovation, no creativity happens in a place that's safe and cozy. I know the best leaders are intentional about seeking out people whose perspectives and strengths are very different from theirs. That's what makes them strong. Let's be the leaders who are as mindful of the capital on the inside of others as we are of the capital in our bank accounts, because when we do, our best people will thrive and they will want to stay with us for a long time. The second key to leading others well is treating their talents and strengths well. Sounds simple, but it's not always easy. I learned that firsthand when I was in graduate school. Somewhere around my second year of grad school, my professor asked me to gather all my data and write up a paper for publication in a chemical journal. I was so proud to give him my first draft. Less than 24 hours later, I got my draft back from him. I could barely recognize it. His red marks were all over it. I remember sitting across from him thinking, I'll never graduate. I felt embarrassed. I felt disappointed in me, maybe in him as well. And that's when I heard him say, Joanna, I believe in you. You can make this paper great. Go try again. What did he do? He let me fail safely, didn't he? You see, my professor recognized that I had a natural talent for writing. It's just I had never written a technical paper before. I needed more reps. So he let me fall off the proverbial bike and get back on it again so that I could learn how to write with precision and accuracy. The results? By the time I defended my thesis, I had more than 10 publications with my name and his name on them. That was my best contribution to him and his team. Now, my professor treated me well, but that's not always the case. I wonder if you can think of a time in your own life when someone didn't treat you well. Do you still remember the sting of that feeling? Maybe your boss could only see your gaps and weaknesses, never your strengths, so you left a job that you liked. Great leaders treat their people's talents and strengths well because they know that each one of us has the potential to contribute to others, but only if we stretch ourselves. What do I mean by that? To contribute to someone else means to stretch ourselves beyond our talents, where there's ease and comfort, and into our strengths, where there's excellence and precision. And that process takes time. Time to reflect, time to practice new skills, time to gather relevant knowledge. That process can also be very messy. But have you ever seen an athlete get on a bike one day and win Tour de France 30 days later? No, right? Best leaders give their people plenty of room to fall off the bike, get back on it again, so that people can get closer and closer to excellence. It's fantastic. Let's be the leaders who give our people time to grow and stretch, and also the resources they need to do that. And when I say resources, it could be something as simple as a whiteboard in the office of that one person on your team who ideates all the time. And this is the quickest way for her to capture her ideas. Or it could be something as simple as giving that other person on your team time to go for a walk in the middle of the day, or to a museum, or anywhere where he can get inspired and bring that inspiration right back to your team. Let's be those leaders. Gallup studies tell us that people who work in their strength zone look forward to going to work every day. They achieve more every day. They have many more positive, creative, innovative moments every day. Imagine if we were all the type of leaders who drew strengths out of others, energizing them in the process, and making them feel valued and appreciated. In fact, we can. Because Riston's law, as it applies to human capital, gives us two keys: welcome and treat well. And when as leaders, we choose to use those two keys, we can unlock the potential in our followers, the magic in them, and win the fight for talent in a super competitive business environment. So I have a challenge for you. Picture in your mind right now just one person you want to lead well. Got it? Tomorrow, find one small way to welcome and treat well that person's talents and strengths. That's my extra narrative on this topic of human capital. Thank you.